We have new information. A Brownsburg family is moving to sue the school district. Two former school staffers, as you know, at Brown Elementary, accused of abusing a 7-year-old special education student. The family has filed a tort claim. That is the first step in notifying the district of a possible lawsuit. Right now, again, 5 former staffers with Brownsburg School face charges in the incident. 2 accused of forcing the child to eat his vomit in February. Those staffers have either been fired or resigned from the district. Parents went to a special meeting last night to let their voices be heard.
So my son, he wasn't directly affected by this, but like all the other life skills parents, we are all, obviously, like I know I have been nervous and anxious to send my son to school.
Like my son's nonverbal. So it's like your biggest fear. More monitoring of the cameras, possibly more cameras in place, reporting, more structures, training.
Now, attorneys Catherine Michael and Tammy Meyer represent the family of that 7-year-old. They join us live on the Rad Couch now to talk more about what you have uncovered, what you've seen, helping the family. Thank you for being here. Let's start with the meeting. Catherine, we'll start with you. What came out of the meeting last night? What was this meeting about?
So what we understand is this meeting was to talk to parents in the life skills classroom about some of the problems that have occurred and what changes they say are going to be made. The unfortunate thing that we're hearing from many parents is there are not a lot of changes that are going to be made, and there weren't a lot of explanations provided to those families.
So they left more frustrated?
That's what we understand, is that they left more frustrated. And I think as attorneys who are dedicated to child welfare, that we would really expect a school district to be making some massive changes to ensure that this never happens to another family again.
Tammy, as you jump into the conversation, how is the little boy? How is the family doing? Because I know a lot of people watching, their first concern is what happened to him and how is he doing now?
Obviously they're struggling.
Yeah.
This has been very traumatic for them, as you can imagine, and we're doing everything we can. But the thing that I have seen in the last couple of weeks is the outpouring of support from the community, and that means a lot to them.
Yeah, I can only imagine that they need that. Catherine, let's talk about this meeting a little bit more, because there was something that came out. We had a reporter that tried to get some information, was kicked off the property. But we heard parents talk about something that some didn't know about, and that was a room, a type of a seclusion room, if I'm saying it right. What do you know about that? And did the parents even know that this was happening? What did they use this room for?
Well, we're only beginning to hear this. And the information that we've gotten is that many parents were unaware that their children were being secluded at school or were being placed in an isolation room. And apparently many of them just learned about this last night. And so we have very little information. I mean, we are getting information just along with the parents, and you know what was provided to them last night.
Did they describe at all what the isolation room looked like, or has anybody told them when is this room used?
One parent who contacted us basically just said it's a room that has no windows, that she not know if her child was ever even placed there, but has concerns that he may have been.
Tammy, I'm guessing too that this is a reason why you first file the tort to let them know that there is the potential for a lawsuit coming. This is one of the only ways perhaps to find out if there is video, to get information, to be able to interview people to get information. Is that part of this?
Yeah, we'll do that through the discovery process, and hopefully there will still be video at that time. There should be, but we'll see through the discovery process what we can learn. Right now it's really difficult because there's still an ongoing police investigation. So when that investigation is still ongoing, it's hard to get information.
Catherine, for those that are watching, what is the main message at this point that you would like for viewers or parents that maybe have a child in a similar situation that you want them to know?
I think it's really important, if you saw abuse, whether it was this year, last year, 5 years ago, regardless of what school district you're in, that you come forward. We hear from a lot of staff members that they're afraid to come forward because of the mandatory reporting requirements. Now will they be charged if they speak out? And I think that they really need to be considering the welfare of the children within those schools and really speak up, because this is a problem that we have in Indiana that seems to be really growing. And that's a big concern and it should be for all of us. And those individuals really do need to come forward.
Tammy, what do you know about video and cameras? I mean, I don't believe that they're required in schools. I know that there are a lot of parents that say, I want to be able, I mean, I don't even know how, this just came into my mind. I think about when I go on vacation and I take my pet. And my pet, I get to watch my pet all day long. Mm-hmm. I can listen and I can watch what my pet is doing in the pet hotel. Why can't I see what is happening with my child in a schoolroom when we know that these issues are there? Is that a concern or?
Sure, exactly. And I think that was raised last evening, my understanding, by several of the parents. We've got video everywhere these days, in the mall, in restaurants, wherever. Why can't we have a video, particularly in the special needs classrooms and in the isolation rooms? Why not?
I hear, I mean, again, I don't want to make it bigger because we don't know what happens in that, but just the sound of it, it hurts my heart.
I think it's the fact that it is all shadowed in darkness, right? Parents don't know what's happening in these rooms. They've never been privy to any sort of video. And when we do get video, some of what is revealed, as we've talked about on this show, is the problem that what we're seeing on those videos. And, you know, sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. And then when you see a fire in one place, chances are there's fires in others. And I think that's what's scary to a lot of families. If this is what we see, what is happening where we don't see?
Well, we know that you will, get as much information as you can. We invite you back to talk more about it when you do. Good to see both of you. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
7:46.